Hello everyone, this is Bornali from 4M TV USA and you are watching live coaching program. Uh, this is our regular program and we do this one to practice mindfulness. So there we have our coach Ariel with us today who will be introducing yoga, uh, will tell us what yoga is, how to apply yoga philosophy, uh, showing postures, breathing, etc. So let's jump to our coach Ariel. Hello Ariel, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Today our festival is going on. It's called Eid. So Eid Mubarak.
Happy Eid Mubarak.
Okay, very good. So yeah, I leave the floor to you, Ariel. You start doing what you do best.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Warnati. Talk to you soon.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Yep.
welcome to School of Serenity. In this program, I wanted to introduce yoga, what yoga is, what yoga is not, and we're going to practice as well some techniques. But yeah, before we begin, I just want to say happy Eid Mubarak. I know it's like a good time for you all, and I'm grateful for you and thank you for watching this program. I did my first program last week, and it was really beautiful to see that it reached many, many people. And my hope is that this can also reach many people as well. But if it just reaches you, this one person watching, I am so blessed and happy. And that's part of the theme is yoga. Yoga means connection. Yoga means union. And so yoga is what yoga is not is standing on your head or doing these crazy poses or sitting on a mountain just with your eyes closed like this, very intense like that. Yoga is not about that. Yoga is more connection. And in this session, we're going to be covering the definition of it, practical yoga philosophy, and then we're going to do some poses, or we call them asanas in the yoga practice, then breathing, and finally a meditation with this drum. Looks like some kind of alien thing, but with this drum we're going to play as we do meditation. So that's what you can expect. And also, but before we jump in, if you wanted to learn more about me and stay connected with me, you can follow me on YouTube. Just go onto YouTube and put my name in there, put the word yoga, and you will find more videos like this and music as well. So let's start out with talking about yoga. Yoga, meaning and coming from the word to yoke and to make close and one with the world and with yourself. When we talk about this, I think it's a very good life coaching skill to know, to learn, and to apply. My hope is that you're going to get as many techniques that you can do on your own, starting with this, just knowing what yoga is. Think about this. If you are, having a hard time, have you ever then decided to help someone out and then you felt better at the end of it? That is yoga, because you're realizing that actually we're all connected. And you can see it from the spiritual perspective that everyone is more connected like this, but I like to see it also from the psychological point of view. So if you're thinking about, well, maybe there's no difference between this person and me and we're all in this life together, then so I just want to let you know that when you start approaching things in that way, you can start to have more peace. And at the end of the day, we want more peace. We want to move away from pain. We want to go towards pleasure, but I think there's this fine balance between finding peace, which is in the middle, knowing when pain is happening, knowing when pleasure is happening, but just having this this like wholeness, this centeredness within yourself that I want you to try to start to think about. Okay? There's this, if we go about life thinking that we're different from everything, we're different from this person, different, everyone's different, it will be a lot more challenging to go about life. So this is what yoga is. What yoga is not, like I was saying earlier, is crazy poses and like doing breathing just to say you're doing breathing, or saying, chanting and things like this, or wearing some kind of, I wear a necklace, but it's not, just, for like yoga, like yoga teachers wear necklaces. No, I want to wear a necklace because this is what makes me feel more whole. And so I just want to like take that out, that yoga is not about that. Yoga is about this and its wholeness. We got the point across. Now, the yoga journey has 8 limbs, you can say, or 8 parts. And you start from 1 until 8. The first one is philosophy. Now, you might have noticed that I have a tattoo here. It's in Sanskrit, and this is the only tattoo I have. And I just was like, you know what? If I'm going to get one tattoo, it's going to be about this. And this is the first step in the yoga philosophy of the whole 8-limb path. Before I get into that, this 8-part path is a path that people thousands of years ago have come up together. And there was a guy who, his name was Patanjali. And he said, if you do these 8 stages, you will get into a state of enlightenment. Now, you might think enlightenment is like, oh, I'm this monk or this Buddha on a mountain. Well, maybe you are. But I think enlightenment is just not suffering. So whether you're going to take yoga on, like, and you're going to start doing the poses or the breathing or the meditation that I'm going to share in this practice today, or just think about this one thing, I want you to say, it's just to think about what enlightenment means to you. Maybe already now in the comments, write to me. What does enlightenment mean to you? It could mean more peace. It could mean less suffering. It could mean joy, limitless joy. Whatever your goal is for having a more healthy life or enlightenment, you can write it down. I'm really excited to see. The first step is called ahimsa. And I put it on my right arm because I thought, and I still think, that this is my action arm, my right hand going forward. And I want to be able to, as much as I can, live a life full of compassion. That's the word. Compassion. It's a beautiful word. It's the start of the yoga journey. Before you do anything else, you start with compassion. You start with yourself. You give yourself compassion first, and then you give compassion to others. I see the word compassion as like 2 words. I see it as like love and passion. And when they're together, there's this emphasis on taking care and not doing harm. We like to think that compassion is about an external care for the other person, but it's supposed to start from the self on the yoga journey, or just, I think it's just a really great thing to think about. Okay, I'm going to be more loving and compassionate for myself, and then I'm going to take the action afterwards. The philosophy starts with this. Don't hurt yourself. Very simply put. In a more complex way to see it, if you don't apply ahimsa, you'll get into a yoga pose, or you'll go about your life, and you will keep on being, according to this theory, in a state of suffering. And suffering could mean just, having a lot of negative thoughts, or having, a difficult time in relationships, or with yourself, or with your work, or with your life, with your health, with your sleep, everything, right? And I want to share this message across, that compassion goes before everything else. When it comes to even taking care of another person, if say you're not taking care of yourself, and believe me, I've been there. I haven't taken care of myself in my past. And the moment I found this, it was so powerful for me that I tattooed it onto my arm. I'm not saying you need to tattoo it too to make it work and make it happen, but it starts with that. So if you take care of yourself, then giving and taking care of others is going to be effortless. It's going to come from a natural place. And I really want you to start doing that. It's a practical philosophy. You can think about these things, and they're just thoughts, and philosophize and maybe talk about them. But I want you to take at least one action that is compassionate to yourself. What could that be? That could be many things. That could be a simple thing like taking more time to sleep, taking care of yourself. That could mean next time you're working hard on something, you're fully into your work, but you take a break that you wouldn't have taken, because that is taking care of yourself, to fill yourself up with the self-love, the self-care. And this is important because if we're all connected, the yoga, right? Then if you're taking care of yourself, you're actually taking care of your neighbor, your friend, your partner, your parents, the whole world, the animals. It's you can think about this, like, if you're not taking care of yourself, then it's so hard to give. Where will the giving come from? I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions as well, I would like for you to write in a comment or reach out to 4MTV. And I would love to be there for you. I am there for you, okay? But let's start with compassion. Let's bring more ahimsa to our life. As the yoga journey continues, where we have yoga philosophy, the first two limbs are philosophical and actionable steps called yamas and niyamas, the way you interact with yourself and the way you interact with the world, that are recommended to start before you do anything else in the yoga practice that you would find on YouTube or in a class or anything. So you go the next stage after the two philosophies or philosophical practices, you go into, there's five philosophical practices in each section, right? So you have 10 that it's recommended that you follow. And then you do posture or asanas. And posture actually means seat, is another way to translate asana. There's this pose called easy pose or lotus pose. Let me adjust my camera. And that is when our legs are crossed like this. Many, many years ago, when they started to develop the yoga practice and share with many people, there were only 4 postures that they recommended and prescribed for people to do. One is this. One is the half lotus, this. Another one is full lotus, see? And there's another sitting variation. That's it. That's all they wanted people to work on. And then the yogis realized that, well, people are having a hard time sitting in this posture because, well, the moment you can go to the next stage, technically speaking, is when you can sit in one of these postures for 4 hours. I'm not going to tell you to sit for 4 hours now because it's not applicable right now and very hard. Very hard. I remember I did something called Vipassana, and it's the Buddhist, or not the Buddhist, the Buddha he was teaching meditation to people, and then this was the method that he was teaching. And it's a non-religious practice. That's why I said, sorry, not Buddhist, but it's just a way to meditate and clear your mind and get more peaceful. And that's their way of doing the meditation and the path towards enlightenment. There's many different ways, right? from different sources, different people, different traditions. But this was one thing I did. I sat for 100 hours. 100 hours over 10 days. So 10 hours a day, you're sitting in this posture. And it was very challenging. One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, because you're sitting, your body's hurting, your mind's hurting. And I didn't feel actually compassion or ahimsa at all. I'm really glad I'm done with that. But just to say, I just want to share that, this seat is what you want to be able to sit in. After 4 postures, they realize that people need more. People need to prepare their body. They need to stretch their body, strengthen their core, and get prepared to be able to do this one, right? So if you are approaching the poses with no ahimsa, then you will cause more harm to yourself, and you will not be able to progress along the path of a healthier mind, a healthier spirit, a healthier body. So starting with ahimsa, no matter what we do afterwards, and I giving the example now of postures, that if you realize you're hurting yourself in any posture, the yoga way is to put that aside and not do that. Do something else that's going to serve you, right? And in this life coaching program, School of Serenity, serenity is what we're looking for, not ego, right? Not, I want to do this pose, okay? But we are now in the stage of the poses. And I wanted to share a few. Now we'll get up, or you can also do this while you're sitting if you need to modify for yourself. But we're just going to do a few poses. Please join me in as much as you can. And let's see how we're feeling during this. And all these poses are coming from yoga therapy. There's a whole school of yoga that is targeted towards making your life more healed and giving you more peace. And one way to do that is through these therapeutic approaches. But we're using our body a lot now, so we're going to do a couple, okay? So please join me and stand up. Okay, and okay, here we go. Nice. So with postures, you want to do any posture that is going to bring you more peace, right? And I'm going to keep on saying that in the right context. And with movements, what is going to be the most peaceful? And one way to do that is by listening to your body. Okay. First one is going to be actually something that's going to be more something that you're going to create. You are your own teacher. Start by shaking out your body, shaking out your legs, and doing this short shake and dance. Okay, and then if you want to take it anywhere, you can even just turn to the right and back at center, turn to the left, back at center, and continue. You can also just kind of go more loose, more active, or more slow. Even if you're sitting, just move your arms, move your head, get out of the head and into the body, into your body here, shaking, shaking, shaking for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, please close your eyes and notice what you feel. You might notice some tingling in the hands or anywhere in the body. This is something I want you to focus on, because what's happening here is the mind and the body are connecting. And one great way is to shake, of course. But when you're noticing these sensations, these tingling sensations, or anything going on in the body, you know that you have the power to influence your mind. And a lot of times after shaking, people tend to feel good. It's the fastest way to release stress from the body. We're just going to shake for 10 more seconds to shake anything else out so we can give it another try. All right, so just shaking out your arms, bending your knees, just letting it all go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. With your shoulders pulled back, sit up with a tall spine. Notice what you feel. By noticing what you feel, you're developing a greater connection between your mind and your body. They're not separate. They are one. And by bridging them together, you become more into your own wholeness. Bring your hands to your hips and make big circles here. Yeah, big, big circles. Change directions. There's a pose called palm tree pose. You know what a palm tree is? It's this giant tree. And we want to use nature. And that's what the yogis did in the past. And it's working until today. A lot of poses are either from nature, from plants, or from animals. And one is the palm tree. So we want to purposefully get as tall as possible with our arms. And if you're standing, you're going to look down with your eyes at a point and then lift your heels off the ground, getting as tall as you can. Getting stable and strong. Lifting, holding, and release your arms down to your sides. After every pose, it's recommended to pause and notice the effect. Sometimes it's more in the body, sometimes it's the mind, but it could be both. That was a tree, right? And there's also tree pose, which is a very common pose, but we're gonna pause on that for now. The next one is lion's breath. I'm gonna come a little closer so you can see. So what do you think and what do you feel when you think about a lion, right? A lion roaring, a lion is strong and powerful. A lot of people have fear of speaking in front of a crowd, for example. It's about, 60% or so? There's a certain percentage of people that are afraid of, I was saying I was a little nervous before coming on here. And earlier today, I was doing this practice because I knew I was going to speak for a little bit, right? So if you're ever feeling that, and I think just in general, it's a great practice to do, it's called the lion's breath. We're going to embody a lion. We're going to breathe in through our nose and then out through our tongue, like this, and open your mouth. Breathe in, like that, and make sound. Continue that. And if you're standing, you're going to bring your fist to your back, like this, or even if you're sitting, and lift your head up. Breathe in and out through the tongue. Continue. Bend into the knees if you're standing. One more time, make a big roar. Deep inhale and exhale out through the tongue. Great. How do you feel now? This is just something that you can do anytime, and sometimes it only takes 10 to really change your state. Let's see, what's another pose? Let's do tree pose. I'm gonna show you different versions to this. Tree pose is a balancing posture. I want you to look down on the ground, and I said that in palm tree pose because when you're looking with your eyes, your whole body gets more calm. You can even try it as an experiment. If you're standing on one leg, so I want you to stand on your left leg, lift your right leg up. Any amount. And the arms anywhere to balance. You can hold on to a wall. And I want you to look at a point anywhere in your room or outside. And then start to look around, and then notice how that's shifting. It's a little bit more challenging. Sometimes when we get into a farther pose, it becomes even more prevalent. Lower down. Now just lift the left leg any amount. Start this time by looking all around the room, all around, very scattered, very unfocused, turning your eyes, and then look at a physical point. Please focus your whole attention on the point, and your left foot is above the ground. Okay, and then release. And then one more time, balancing on your left foot, you're going to lift your right foot above the ground. It could just be anywhere inside the left leg. So with your toes on the ground like this, or even higher or higher. And then if you can balance, you bring your palms together at your heart. And in this pose, you are going to become the tree. Every tree is different. Every plant is different. And the way the tree moves or grows is all different. So accept where you're at right here. And this is a pose that I've actually thought recently, I must have done this anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 times in my life. Just given how long I've been doing yoga, but I've been doing tree pose almost every time. Release. Let's go to the other side. And this tree pose, but it's not super important to share. Remember ahimsa. It's not as hot how high you can lift, but how present you can be. And if you can breathe, you are doing most of the work. It's about breathing nice and softly in through the nose or mouth and looking at a point, making that your point of focus. And release. If any of those felt good, I want you to practice that on your own and explore. It's about listening to yourself, becoming your own teacher. Thank you for joining me in that part. Now you can come back to a seat or to a chair. All right, and so when we really work on our yoga practice, our postures, we then start to get a stronger body, right? And I wanted you to know that the next part is actually breathing, okay? So if you are breathing, you are alive, right? But if you're intentionally breathing you can become more present, even more alive, more connected. And so when we have a steady seat, we work on the breath. I'm going to share a few breath work. They call it breath work because it's like kind of a practice that you do regularly. That if you do it, you will have tremendous benefits. I'm going to share very easy ones now. Start with one hand on your lower belly and one hand over here on your heart. Okay, now breathe into your lower hand and then to the upper hand. Feel it expand. And then exhale out. Starting to feel the wave of the breath moving through your body. 2/3 of the breath is going to be the lower hand, and 1/3 of the breath is going to be the upper hand. Take one more breath like this. Place both hands now on your lower belly and breathe just into that area. We have 3 parts of our breath that we want to learn how to access. So if you would like, you can close your eyes here. Notice how the breath is moving into the lowest space of your body. Take just about 3 breaths. Next, place your hands on your ribs right over here. And as you breathe, feel the ribs expanding out to the sides. Now, why is breathing so important? The theory and the practice goes that when you can control your breath, you can control your mind. We have 68,000 thoughts every day on average, and 90% of them are negative. Let's let that sink in for a moment. Relax your arms. And then place both hands just right on your chest over here. And when you breathe, just fill up the lungs and the chest up to the hands. Feel it expand just up on the top. So imagine being able to control your mind and control your breath. It's going to bring a lot of benefits. Even if you just focus on your breathing, you can just completely come into a deeper state of peace in your life. Find more serenity. And now come back to all three of those areas with one hand again on the heart, one hand on the lower belly. And now breathe. See if you feel a difference. Starting from the lower hand, then the ribs, then the heart area. Continue that. And as you breathe out, just let it flow out like a wave. Fully in. Yeah, and just continue that a couple more times. And then relax your arms down. If you like to continue breathing like this, please continue. And there's so many different kinds of practices, and if this is really exciting for you all, I can work on creating a whole session just on breathing or just on poses or even the other ones, or philosophy as well. Once we can then control our body and have a healthy, strong, stable physical body, then we control our breath, and we have good philosophy behind how we're practicing. The next part is concentration. And, after concentration, we eventually go into a, noticing our senses and, kind of like realizing like through the senses, we can get a connection to the whole world. But more practically speaking, we're going to do a short meditation, which is actually one of the last phases. So you do all of this stuff, and then you're supposed to be ready then for meditation. Of course, you can do them all at the same time, kind of gradually building it up. Well, I'm going to play the drum as you do a meditation. Now, meditation is where you have two things going on. You're focusing and you're being, and this is a word that took me a minute to learn about. It's called, and have equanimity. Equanimity is a beautiful word, and it means that you are accepting and aware of whatever experience is happening, and you're not holding on to it. So say equanimity could be really beautiful, because if you're having a bad day, you can take this tip, this trick, and say, you know what? I'm going to practice equanimity. And with equanimity, it's like you can, no matter what is happening, you can find inner peace by knowing that everything is changing. One school of thought is that the only truth, the only thing that is true in this life right now or all the time is change. Change is the only truth, right? You can believe that or not, right? But say you're believing that for a moment. If change is the only thing that's true, and you're having a hard time, know that it will pass. If you look at your day, it's most likely going to be like this. Happiness comes and goes. Sadness comes and goes. Sometimes some things stay for a little bit longer. But for the most part, you have waves. And the more equanimity you can have, the more those waves are going to be less intense. If you're holding on to it, if you're holding on to your happiness, your excitement, okay, it's great, but then when it goes away, you get upset that it's not there all the time, that you can't always be in the high, right? So with meditation, the most important teachings are finding a point to focus on, stay committed to that point, and then become still, present, and accept through equanimity. Find a comfortable seat, sitting or lying down. Any place that you can just take a couple of minutes here to be completely still. 2 points to think about. Focus on your nose, right here. And the focus is going towards the breath going in and out. And if your focus goes anywhere else, they say it's like a monkey mind. You have a monkey mind with so many thoughts, so many different places. Just bring it back. When you bring it back, that's you becoming stronger. That's you strengthening your mind, okay? Focus in your nose the whole time. And if anything comes up, know it's there, let it go, and come back into focus. I'm going to play my drum. I want you to take this time to be still and let the meditation speak for itself. Remember, focus and equanimity. Where is your mind? Are you focusing? And even more importantly, are you bringing it back to your point of focus? That's the real work. It's not about having clear mind the whole time, but it's about bringing it back to your point of focus. Just one more minute. And a big part is just starting again. Wherever you are at, just bring it back. Sharpen your focus. We're going to end our meditation. And now let that focusing of the nose, let that go. And feel the connection you have with yourself. You can place one hand or two hands in your heart. Feel your heart beating and experience the yoga, the union within yourself. Now extend the arms out to the sides like you're about to give a giant hug to a tree, but you're giving a hug and extending out to the world around you. Maybe it's just one person and you're feeling that union, that merging connection with that person. Notice what it feels now that you filled yourself up with connection and now you're sharing connection. This is the real yoga. And then bring your hands back to the heart. Take one deep breath in, out through the mouth. And gently open the eyes when you're ready. Thank you for practicing yoga with me today. My hope is that at least one thing in this session is going to help you in any way, any shape or form. Please reach out if you have any questions. I'm here for you, and the 4MTV team, we're here for you. Happy holidays. Eid Mubarak, if I said it correctly. And I look forward to seeing you next week for School of Serenity. My name is Ari. Again, if you wanted to listen to more of my drum music or any more things yoga related, you can find me on YouTube, Ari Rubens or Ariel Rubens. Searching on there, you're most likely going to find it, or you can just put yoga. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, and I will see you all very soon. Wonderful. Until next time. Seems like there's a few more minutes. I'll just play my drum until we are. All right, goodbye, my friends.